Yo, it's Elut, and it's time to talk Fire Emblem music. I have always held the opinion that any piece of media made in the modern day can never truly reach S tier if the music behind it isn't absolutely spectacular. If you don't have the gentle, more heartfelt pieces to capitalize on intimate character moments, if you don't have that main character plot armor motivation theme, or if you don't have the daunting, badass final boss music, whatever you create will suffer for it. This applies for video games as much as it does film or television, in my opinion. Video games in particular apply music in a much different way than other forms of media, though. When watching a movie, a TV show, or even a YouTube video, when the music plays exactly is in control of the editor, and certain sections of the music are specifically meant to complement what is happening on screen. This is true of video games when regarding cutscenes and specific events, but oftentimes video game music is composed of several different sections that are meant to go in a continuous loop. The game developers can't ever know exactly how long something is going to take for the player to complete, or when exactly the player will reach a specific part of the story. Fire Emblem is a perfect example of this. Since the game is turn-based and the player is given a good amount of freedom in terms of strategy for each and every map, as well as the fact that every player reads written dialogue at their own individual pace, a lot of times music in Fire Emblem is very dynamic and changes tone often within the same piece. Because the player is an unknown variable, the music must encapsulate all aspects of what is happening in the story in its own way. It's easy to hear a theme in Fire Emblem and simply say, "I love this song, it's really cool and fits the mood well." And I would say that most Fire Emblem fans agree that the music is usually excellent across the board. But part of my enjoyment with the music in these games is to take the songs out of the game and try to interpret them a little deeper. Try to piece together which sections of the song correspond with what happened on screen, even if in the moment they didn't necessarily occur in sync. Which is why today I wanted to talk about the final map theme of Radiant Dawn, and why I think it is just perfect. The final chapter of Radiant Dawn tasks the player with killing a god. We've seen this kind of trope in endless video games. It's by no means a new concept, but I would say even in this instance it feels a little different than how many games tackle this type of final section. Radiant Dawn feels much more serious to me. There really isn't much left to say. Everybody knows what side they're on, and when our heroes enter the final room, it's all business. This half of the original goddess of Tellius, Ashura, has lost all faith in the value of living beings. She's the epitome of a disappointed parent. She's stone cold, stubborn, and has no patience left. She's heard enough excuses for why Bjork and Laguz continue to fight and cause each other nothing but pain and suffering. The other half of the goddess on our side, Yune, still believes in the value of imperfect life. She's chaotic, and she understands that beautiful things are born out of pain, and the same is true the other way around. One cannot exist without the other. An elite group has come to show Ashura the error in her judgment. People of all backgrounds from different countries, different personalities, and people who were once enemies with each other now join together. Grail mercenaries, Laguz royals, maybe even a spare Dawn Brigade member tagged along. Many of them have suffered even by each other's hands, and yet they stand together here. We enter the final room of the Tower of Guidance, where Ashura awaits us, and the final theme begins with a bold first note. This is Ashura's raw power filling up the room. It's so huge it's almost suffocating. The strings section begins swirling as the realization sets in. We have to fight God. Are we just meant to die here? Yune, through Micaiah, tells everyone to attack the magical auras surrounding Ashura. Ashura has walled herself off from us physically and emotionally, staring down at us with a blank expression. Everybody begins hacking away, and some auras seem to be attacking back in the process. It's like being stabbed by the air. A flute plays in the background. It's Yune. She's trying to reason with Ashura, one last time before the fighting goes too far. Ashura fires back. She's had enough. She's tired of hearing the same things over and over. If you want to change her mind, the only way to do it is through brute force. Eventually, all the auras break down. Everyone is winded, but this is the final stretch. Ashura is vulnerable now. The fighting escalates again. Ashura throws out devastating AoE attacks and status ailments, but they power through. As Ashura is taken down, the tension in the air slowly drains out. We can finally breathe. We've won. And yet Yune's flute continues to play. Something isn't right. Was it really that easy? After briefly wiping the sweat from their faces, our heroes are in for the worst surprise since Chapter 5 in Genealogy of the Holy War. Thunderous percussion fills the player's ears for an uncomfortable amount of time. There's no melody, no chords, just raw, pounding aggression. That can't be it. And it isn't. Ashura stands up and regains 100% of her strength. At this point, the music is much more sustained and drawn out. The notes aren't as agile as the start of the fight. Our boys and girls are getting tired. How do you beat the power of a god? You might think to fight fire with fire, a god with another god. But Ashura and Yune are on equal footing. Like happiness and pain, chaos and order also cannot exist without each other. We need some kind of edge. Well, lucky for the player, we have Ike, one of the greatest warriors in the history of Tellius since Altina herself. Speaking of Altina, she was the legendary hero who wielded both Ragnell and Elondite simultaneously centuries ago. The sister swords were bestowed upon her by Ashura in order to imprison Yune in Leiron's medallion. Yune back then was immature, so Ashura thought it best to lock her away. They didn't understand each other back then, and Ashura doesn't want to make the effort to understand Yune now after being released. But after Yune was locked away, Ashura grew lonely and lost her love of the world. Ashura and Yune are meant to be together, to coexist. The only way to get through to Ashura is to combine Yune, her other half that she sorely missed, with her own creation, Ragnell, wielded by a great hero. There's a bit of irony in there somewhere. As the song swirls around one final time, Yune charges up Ike with the power of 100 energy drops. Ike strikes her down and ends Ashura's own pain and suffering after centuries of being alone. If the player gets the true ending, Ashura and Yune are once again combined together into their original being, Ashunara. This was never a fight between two goddesses, only a conflict within one. She is imperfect, and so are the things that she created. And that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. The creator is not separate from its creations. They are the same. Being disgusted with something you've created is being disgusted with yourself. Being proud of something you've created is being proud of yourself. You cannot live with only happiness or pain. They are both essential for growth. They inform each other and constantly pass the torch back and forth. To quote C.S. Lewis, "The pain I feel now is the happiness I had before. That's the deal." The cycle of life is endlessly imperfect, and that's what makes it so interesting. The only thing in this world that is perfect is this final boss theme. I mean, good lord, did you listen to that shit?